Hello, this is Thomas, K4SWL. If you're new here, I like to do real-time, real-life amateur radio field activation videos, and today I'm at Lake Norman State Park again. I was here, last week? Was it last week I was here? I think so. And it's a beautiful day. It's a much nicer day than even last time when it was pretty humid, I think. Always seems like it's humid out here, but today, much drier, nicer. Almost fall-like weather. It's beautiful. And yeah, I'm going to play a little POTA. And for once today, I'm actually not in a big hurry. I've got a little bit of time. So I've been thinking about how I can use this time most wisely. Or unwisely, actually. Unwisely. I was trying to think of something to shake up the activation. I like my activations to be a little different each time. I mean, even in just a small way, I like to shake it up a bit. And I think I've decided I want to sit here at this picnic table, which is right up against all these paths and things. Really quiet here at the park today, though. Very, very quiet. I brought along Steve, MW0SAW's in-fed half-wave, one he made me a while back. If you've been following my channel for long, you'll know I really like that antenna. It's a great one. Plus, it's just kind of nice to take this antenna to different places. It fits in my pack nicely. I'll show you here. Yeah, simple, easy, just a great antenna overall. And thanks for that, Steve. It's still working very, very well. And I brought my Elecraft KX2 with me today. Now, I do have a new key that we'll be using for the very first time. I have not used this key, not even to test it yet. It is so new. New to me, I should say. It's a key I bought from a friend. And we'll take a look at that here in a second. So my thought this morning when I left the house was, if I do an activation today, I think I want to do one with maybe 100 milliwatts and see how it works. And I've had a lot of success with 100 milliwatts, so 1/10 of 1 watt, so very QRP, or as they call it, QRPP, which is very, very low power. And in-fed halfway is good to pair with that, though not too long ago, actually I paired my AX1 with my KX3, and the AX1 is just a 4-foot telescoping whip antenna, and I made a contact with 100 milliwatts with it from North Carolina to Florida. Very, very pleased with that. It was kind of a surprise, to be honest. Today I'll be using the full in-fed half-wave. However, Earth is right now moving into the path of a massive coronal mass ejection, a CME. So the bands are just wiped out right now. If we hear a lot of signals, you'll probably hear there's a lot of fading, and it's just not going to be good, not pleasant at all. And my buddy Mike told me about it before we left. And lately we've had just very unstable conditions. I mean, it's sad. I kind of love it when we have good stable conditions because it's fun to make DX contacts, and it's just kind of easier. It's just a little easier. But it's also kind of challenging when you don't have good propagation. And since I've got so much time today, I thought, why not for just maybe 10 minutes or so run 100 milliwatts and see what happens when you're running QRPP levels on a day with really, really rotten propagation. Will it work? My initial thoughts are, it's probably not going to work well. Because there'll just be so little signal there with the ionosphere so disturbed. I have very low expectations. I don't know what would be better, 40 meters or 20 meters right now. I think we'll start on 20 meters regardless. We'll give it a go. We'll see what happens. And I've got enough time that I can then pump up the power. I've got the patience here in a beautiful day, beautiful scenery. We'll just make it work. Okay, so let's get this antenna up. As I've been talking here, I've been scouting out the trees, and this is only the second time I've been to this particular site. and it's wonderful in so many ways. It's kind of up on this little tiny hill here. You got lake on both sides. There's a lake over there, lake over here. It's actually a peninsula, basically out into the lake. Not too far from the visitor center. My car is over there charging for free. I mean, there's just so many great things about this particular site that I love. But it's kind of weird, and you can't see this probably with no depth perception, you know, on YouTube. But there's like this big hole where there's like no really good viable options to place antennas. There's this little tree right here. I think maybe I used that last time. I can't remember. There's that one. It's hard to get to because when you're shooting it from the back end, which is the way I like to do it, shoot it from over there up, you don't have a really nice clean path to do it. There are some trees back this way I could go through, but again, lots of low foliage, lots of low hanging branches that are in the way of making it up into those taller branches so that your line can come back this way. And I like to shoot my throw line toward the area where I'm working, toward my station. And the reason for that is if I do that, then I don't have to reel the entire line in. I can keep half the line in the bag and just pull it out when I'm done. Whereas if I shot it from this way out, which would make it a lot easier in some ways, I'd have to pull the whole line through. And I'm willing to do that. I do it all the time, actually. All the time. I probably do it a few times a year, I should say. But I just don't want to today. Which means I'm going to aim for this branch, if I'm looking at it correctly. I'm going to aim for this tree and this branch up here, and it's up high, and it's really clustered really closely to the tree, so that's not going to be easy to hit. I suspect it'll take me a few tries to get it up there into this mostly deadish tree. I'm seeing that there's a lot of dead branches there, but I'm not going to be putting enough force on it that I have to worry about any of that stuff falling on me. Those are not widowmakers up there. I should be in good shape. So let's give this a go. You're probably going to see me have to, I'll probably have to do this a couple times. Where should I set up the camera so you can watch this play out? Keep in mind, since I do real-time, real-life videos, my blooper roll is my actual video. So you get to see it all, whether if you want to or not, I guess. Okay, hopefully you can see some of this. I don't know if you can see up into the tree that well. My camera's not quite that good. Maybe I'll move back just a little bit further, and you can maybe see some of this. Here we go. I've still got to go over and get my line. So a couple's walking right past here, and I don't want to shoot a line toward them as they're walking, so I'll just kind of wait for them to pass by nicely. You know what? So it didn't hit the branch I wanted, but it hit one almost as good. So this will work out perfectly fine. So it just went to this side of the tree instead of that side, and I grabbed some of those branches. Which actually, if I were shooting for those branches, it would have been difficult to do because this tree's in the way, but somehow it just made that window and went through there. So I can easily pull the line around and set up my infrared half wave now. Yay. Worked out nicely. Okay, let's see here. So Steve pointed out last time that this is how you pull the line off here. And he's right about that. It's a much easier way to do this. Now, if I'm lucky when I pull this up, which I'll do right now, I'm going to go off the camera to do this, none of this will tangle. We'll see how that works. So I know this is kind of a boring shot here, sorry about that, but so that's exactly where I want it. Now what I may do, just to make it, it's almost like a vertical going up, and I tell you what, that was up really high, it's higher than I thought. Probably about, I don't know, 45 to 50 feet, so there's not a whole lot of extra line coming down on the other side. It's not much of a V. Let's see, let's get my antenna line out, feed line. This is my feed line. I can take this adapter off the end of it. Okay, so this is my RG316 from ABR Industries. Has a built-in choke, and what I'll actually do is run it around this tree right here. Like this. And back over here to hook it up so that when I hook it up, it kind of pulls the antenna out just a little bit. There we go. So just pulling the antenna out at a little bit of an angle. I don't want it to touch any more branches than it has to, but it's touching branches now, and I'm fine with that. Let's see, is it long enough? It's long enough, so I will kind of just run it through this little bush thing here to hold it. That'll work just fine. And then there's like no stress on this at all. Here we go. We'll set up here. Make a little room. I'm facing out. I like to do that. I don't like my back to be toward a path. It is actually toward a path right now, but the path's down below me on a hill. I don't like being with my back against an active path, like there's one right there, you can see. And so people will walk by, and at least I can see them if they're talking to me, and gives me a chance to not be surprised when I'm in the middle of something, like a contact, which hopefully we'll make some today. We'll see. Let me be really clear here. What we're about to do with running 100 milliwatts on a day when we're being hit with a huge CME, one that's noteworthy enough that all the space weather sites put out a message about it, and alerts. I mean, that size of CME, one that's very notable. This is not something you normally want to do in this situation. So, yeah, there's that to be considered. Don't do as I do, do as I say. Here we go. Let me pull out my phone here to remind myself of, let's see. Let me do, let me get the Hammers app out. Here we go. Get Hammers. I started my log back home before I left, just so it would be ready to go. I haven't written down my paper logs yet, though. I want to do that real quick. Let's see. I think this is K2740, K2740. I'll start it on this page. Lake Norman, State Park, K2740. And today is what, the 18th of September 2023. We're going to start on the 20 meter band. I'm going to put up here, you know, I won't put the power rating up here, but I will put KX2 in-fed half wave, so I can remember that. And the time, hopefully the first station will work. We'll still be in the 1800 hour. It's 1824 right now. Now, the key, let's talk about this a second. I'll be very honest with you. This is exciting to me. So, normally when I use my KX2, I like to use these little, not normally, I should say, anytime I'm using this on my, knee board, I like to use these little KX PD2 paddles that attach to the front of the KX2 like this, right? These are not high precision paddles, but they're great, and they work fine for, you know, that sort of activation. You've seen me use it on a picnic table before too, and I do that all the time as well. I also have a little bracket that's made by, is it QRP Works, that isn't out yet, but will be, and I've got a video about that. If I can remember, I'll link to it above. I probably won't remember to do that, where I use this at the Dayton Aviation Heritage site in Dayton. And you can attach other paddles to that, and it just kind of moves around. It's really nice. Well, this one is a very special paddle. I have a good friend, a supporter here on QRPer.com and of the YouTube channel, and he offered to sell me his Begali adventure paddle. Now, this is a paddle I've always wanted. I never purchased. But last year for the Hamvention, I planned to purchase a Begali Traveler paddle, and one of my friends and supporters here in the QRP community just sent me hers. She wasn't using it. She preferred another key, and she said, just make best use of this. And I love, love, love that paddle. So at Hamvention this year, I felt like I didn't need to buy another key because I'd just gotten that one. So I had planned to purchase one at Hamvention though. So instead, I just got some finger pieces for the Traveler. And this friend of mine wrote and said, hey, I've got this Begali adventure paddle that I'd like to offer you at a below market price before I put it online, because I just want to support your channel and what you do, and I think you would really love this key. And he made me an offer I just could not refuse. It took me all of like maybe 1/100th of a second to say thank you, and I applaud it from him. He could have gotten a whole lot more for it. He's just such a nice guy. But he knew I get a lot of pleasure out of using this. I love the Begali family, and it'd be kind of fun to do this. He actually has both the KX2 or KX3 mount, and he had the KX1 mount for this as well. So I can actually use this on my KX1. But I have not used it. I honestly have not plugged it into a radio yet. I just got this in the mail. It actually was in a really nice box and everything. I just, all I did was pull it out of the box and just put it all in this little plastic bag. It was really nicely done. And I pulled off the base. It had I've got the little main base for it with the magnets on the bottom. And so this morning, right before I left, I unscrewed the base from that, grabbed this, and we're going to see how this fits. Maybe I should have done this before. I bet I should have done that before. But we'll see. I can probably get this to work anyway. Here we go. Here's the first one in. The second holder in. Oh, these are easy to use. I don't know if the contacts have been cleaned or anything. Oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. So there we go. I'm going to take a picture of this now. I'm kind of blown away that I have one of these now. Okay, now I've got to watch my battery today. I have an extra battery. I've got a battery pack I can plug in. In fact, I think I may see if I can go ahead and do that now so I don't forget to do it. Because we may be going for a long time. This is going to be a long video, I suspect. I've got time to kill. I'm at a beautiful park on a beautiful day. Yeah, I'm going to plug this baby in. Settle in for a long ride today, okay? Let's turn this on. And make sure that... Well, that's promising. I'm hearing a signal on 17 meters. Okay, let me turn the power down. From 5 watts, can you see that? You know, I'll try to move it here so maybe you can see it a little bit better. I can't really move to keep the reflections off because no matter what I try, there we go, the reflections are going to be there regardless. Okay, let's turn it down to 0.1 watts. Okay, I know I need to tighten this down now. I don't quite know what I'm doing here. Okay. Do I even need to tune this? Let's see, do I have the ATU engaged? Oh, I don't know if I have enough power or enough signal to do this or not, but I'm very tempted to look. Let's see here, POTA. I've got a little teeny bit of a signal right now. Let's see if I can get the POTA website to load, and I'll see if anybody's on frequency here. Okay, give me a little water. I forgot to bring my water today, but they've got a really nice gift center and concessions place here at the Lake Norman. And I frankly look for excuses to buy things when I come in, and I make it known that I'm a park activator so they don't think that we're all freeloaders when we come here. Last time I gave them a nice donation. Okay, well, I'm hearing some signals. That's really positive. Okay. That's very positive. Let's see. I don't want to be too close to anyone. But you know what? That's close enough that someone else may not come in and trample on top of me. Oh my giddy aunt, that is a really, really nice feeling key. I'm gonna like this. I can't even get this to load. It's so slow here. Let's see. Okay, now I did announce my activation, so now's where we cross our fingers and actually just keep our expectations low. Let's just be honest here. We're keeping our expectations low. This makes no sense today to use this low a power. No sense at all. Oh, this key. It's very photogenic too. I'm gonna get my water bottle out of the way. Here we go. Pull back up the logbook so it's ready to go. 20 meters. Come on. It'd be nice to work somebody. I don't know if you can see this, but the RF is just showing one bar. It's just showing that there's some RF coming out. The SWR is showing nothing. Of course, this has a really good match on this antenna, but even if it was a little mismatched at this low a power, there would hardly be anything coming back to the radio for it to measure. We're talking about very, very low power here. Today feels like the beginning of fall. It really does. We're only a few days away from that. And I welcome the fall weather. I have no clue if I'm being spotted yet or anything. I may look down here though on the POTA spots. It just can't find it. This one bar is probably not one bar of data. See, I only have one entry down here, and that's KX2 to hold the to keep all my settings in the logbook. If I move off of it, move back on it. Like I told you, I won't do this forever. I will knock the power up here in a little bit if we don't make any contacts at all. But it's kind of fun to try. I think that's the one thing, the aspect I love about amateur radio. I'll try things in the field, and a lot of times people will tell me in the comments, or they'll send me an email and say, hey, that's not the best way to do it. Well, I mean, quite often, not always, but sometimes I know what the best way is or what a better way is, but I like to just try it anyway. I mean, there's no harm. I'm not harming anything. No one's life depends on this. It's just for fun. So why not experiment a little bit and just see what happens? Because I'm always kind of curious, you know. You're experiencing this with me. This was not pre-recorded. It's in a sense that I've cherry-picked something here. This is just the way it is. We may or may not make contacts. I'm fine with either way. I have a hunch I'll be able to make my activation because I've got a lot of time I can throw at this today if I need to. But it is the wrong day to be doing. Now I'll remove my fake entry in here for the KX2. Hello. We'll just take our time. I made one contact though. I'm happy about that. I think someone's trying to tune to make sure that their radio's working. They can hear me. They're like, where's Thomas? I apologize to everybody that's trying to work me right. $559, okay. I'll take that. There we go. There is somebody, there's a stronger station nearby because I can hear a little click off of them. And we'll go back and repeat. Hey, we got 3 so far. This is like, it's kind of like fishing with without a bait. Fishing without a bait. There we go. Oh, it's so nice out here today. One of the other reasons I don't mind hanging out here for a long time today. Okay. That is unfortunately someone trying to call me and they just can't hear me. I'm probably down in their noise floor. Yes, this is kind of cruel to some some of the hunters out there that want to work me right now, but I'll be turning up the power here in a little bit. It's just, there's this part of me that loves this because I think since a kid, I've always, I used to listen to shortwave radio, right? And this was in the Cold War, sort of like in the mid to late 80s, early 80s as well. And I would hear number stations. I would hear, the Radio Moscow or Voice of Russia later. I'd hear all these other, Voice of America, BBC, Radio Netherlands. I was a huge fan of Radio Netherlands Worldwide, and just a ton of other stations. And I think there's this little part of me that always thought what it would be like to be like a spy in another country, and you've got this little teeny tiny transmitter that you're trying to get a signal back to your home country or to some base somewhere, like where there's an underground station or something where they're receiving your signals and you're sending them back and forth. And I kind of look at like 100 milliwatts as like just such a modest amount of power to make a contact. And yes, these are kind of random contacts. I'm the DX, they're listening for me, but it would be kind of similar to that if you were in like one of those spy situations, right? Like where you would have someone listening to the frequency and listening for your signal. So that would probably help, and you'd pick the right frequency, right time of day and all that. But it just kind of, I can't help but think that that's kind of, okay. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm inflicting pain upon people, I can tell. Their ears are bleeding trying to listen to my signal right now. Five 39. Okay. This is what beacon mode's for. So we're up to 5 now, so half of the activation, half of what I need to have a valid activation. What I may do is, instead of moving up the power right now, I might move down to 30 or 40 meters and call CQ there. I actually suspect that 40 meters will either be wiped out completely or be really healthy. Probably not a lot of in between. I don't have any real time. I can't even look up propagation stuff right now with this internet connection, so I really don't know what's going on. I am trying to open up the POTA page if I can. It's just not working. But yeah, I mean, if you think about it, like if you had like a little spy radio or something like that, 100 milliwatts is just so low power you could power it with anything. You could just power it with anything. And so I think there's a part of me that just kind of likes that. I love this part of experimenting, and I think POTA is a good place to do it. If this were some super rare park or some super rare summit or something, no, I'm not going to run 100 milliwatts. I want my signal to have a fair chance to get to a lot of people. Lake Norman's been activated bazillions of times. I've done lots of those activations, so it's not a rare park. It's nothing like that. So why not? Oh, good to get some logs. Nice. He always gives a shout out to Hazel. I wish you were with me today. I really do. Bob's a great guy. Okay, Bob, WC1N. Boy, that guy has got a fire in his belly about doing activations. He just doesn't. And okay. Did he catch all that? Oh, come on, come back. Okay, one more time. Okay, start calling again. I'm so sorry. I'll leave you here just in case you come back. Okay. Okay, I got both at the same time. Okay. Right. Oh, come on. Oh, I must be fading. Okay, one more time, one more time. Okay. Okay, I tried. I'm kind of determined now to get my 10 with 100 milliwatts. So far, this is actually really not too bad, especially considering the conditions today. Okay. Man, Nova Scotia. I need to apologize to, let's see, to WB2, MQQ, and K1ETA. I am so sorry. I'm feeling a little guilty about this. Okay, one more, and then I'll have my 10 at 100 milliwatts. And then we'll see what happens when I turn it up to 5 watts. So the cool thing about being out at the park today is with the charge I had on my car, I'm just now getting used to having this electric vehicle. It's not something I'm normally used to having. With the charge that's on it, I had plenty to go from my mountain QTH down here to Catawba County, North Carolina, to spend the evening with my parents, take my mom to an appointment today, and do all those things. And I had plenty of charge to do that. But to come out here to Lake Norman is adding about another hour and 15 minutes of driving, something like that, maybe a little less than that. No, probably about an hour and 15 minutes of driving round trip. Oh, okay, good. Got him. Oh, gotcha. And 0. Five, 6, 9. I'm getting a good signal into Missouri. Let's increase the power by 10. So we're at 11 contacts now, so I've got my valid activation. I did all that. Let's move it up to 1 watt. And see how, whoops, that's 9/10 of a watt. Whoops. Push, hold. 1 watt. Push, hold. Okay, so 100 milliwatts. We'll see how it does with 1 watt. Now keep in mind, a lot of people may have tried to listen for me and then they've moved on. They're like, I can't hear Thomas, so I'm going to move on. But this is, what, 10 times the amount of power? Or something like that. No, maybe a little less than that. We were using 1/10 of this amount of power before, so. 90% more power, I guess. I'm sorry, but this is really fun for me. Other than missing some context for this, I mean, I'm just looking at this, and this is really respectable. All the way out to North Texas. There we go. Oh, I did it again. I'll tell you what I've been doing. I haven't heard the first bit of the element, and I assumed it was a 1. Oh, there we go. Yes, that's my friend from Montana. Love it. 1 watt. Oh, this is brilliant. I'm getting a signal out west now. Good to work you. You send me a 339. heavy. Oh, someone's tuning up on me. That just got all messed up, but okay, let's see. Let me get him in the books here. Oh, there's somebody else in the background here going too, so I am going to move off frequency instead of try to... Oh no, they're up there, okay. Is that what's happening? You know what? This is a time for me to try a little higher band here. Let's see what's going on. Okay, I got F4HZR. I am thrilled about that. Let's see. Oh no, let me go down to well, should I go down to 30 meters? Should I try 30? I'll have to tune the antenna for that. I'm very pleased with that. Very, very pleased. Okay, so that was what, 1910 when I got him. That was great to get France with 1 watt. Very pleased. And I think what happened was the band changed. Obviously, all of a sudden, I was getting out to the West Coast, and I was also getting into Europe. The band shifted, and there was another station just right there. And I think that's what happened. I don't think someone just started on top of me. I think that we were occupying the same spot and didn't know it until the band shifted a bit. So I don't hang around for that. I just move out of the way, and because we'll just move on here. Let's see. Let's try the 30 meter band, and what I'll do is move this ATU back into auto mode. Hit the ATU button, and I got a 1-to-1. Okay, so boy, the band is really quiet there. This may not be a very healthy band. We'll see. All right, 30 meters here. Still at 1 watt. Oh, I need to change it in my logs. I'm sorry, this has been immensely fun. I've really enjoyed this. take a picture to remind myself that I went to 30 meters. Actually, I'd go back and look in the logs anyway, but hey. Move my water out of the way to take this. Okay, what's that? Really strong. Are you in the park with me? You obviously have a super path into that part of the world. may move up to 17 meters here for just a little bit. This, I told you this is going to be a very, very long activation. It is. Here we go. I'll go ahead and take a photo here while I'm at it. Okay. Sorry, there's walnuts falling around me. It's not the key causing the problems with the keying, it's me. Okay, let's move up to the 17-meter band for kicks. This is probably the band the least likely to be productive today, but let's just see. I'll have to tune this because the end-fed half wave, a 40-meter end-fed half wave, is resonant on 40, 20, 15, and 10. So 17 meters and 30 meters are not a harmonic. So I love this key. This is such a great purchase. I'll be really honest. I didn't need another key. I need another key like I need a hole in the head. But I've kind of always wanted one of these. I love the Begali family. I love their products. And I can't tell you how many emails I've gotten from people telling me to try this key. Since he had all the mounting brackets, it was just done. Plus, he gave me like a really below market price for it and kind of insisted on that. So I couldn't resist. This will be with me forever. This is a wonderful key. I really have a really nice collection of keys now. When I first started in CW, I really just had like, big keys like my Simplex, a Nye Viking key, and I did have a Vibraplex single lever paddle. I really loved that one actually. That's all I really had to go out to the field. I did have the little KX BD2 paddles. That was it. And so then I discovered CW Morse, and I just love their keys. I love CW Morse's keys. I think they're just amazing. I really do. I think they're the best value you'll find in the amateur radio market. They're tough. They're built well. You can adjust them in the field easily. They're kind of indestructible. I have never had one break, and I mean, I just toss those things around. I don't put them in any special cases or do anything, and I've never had one fail on me. And they're now a sponsor of QRP. I'm really proud of that, and I do have a little affiliate link thing with them as well. So those sales support QRP, which is great. They insisted on that. I wasn't going to do that, but I'm glad I did because I'm only doing affiliate type things with companies I really trust. They're just amazing. Then N0SA, Larry, made his keys. They're amazing, and he started working with CW Morse, and CW Morse is producing his stuff under his designs, and they're just phenomenal. There's Begali, and the Begali family are just outstanding. They're so well loved in the amateur radio community for a really good reason. They make a great product. They have wonderful customer service, and when you have a Begali product, you're a part of their family basically from then on out. And I love that whole crew. Bruna and her dad Piero are just they're just wonderful. It's a wonderful family-owned business. And Franco, there's some great people there, and they make a great product that'll last forever. I mean, just last forever. I also like the Bama Tech, is it called Bama Tech? Bama Key TP3 out of Germany. I've got that one too. I really like it. It's probably not one of my favorites, me personally, only because I prefer like wider paddles on it. But it's an excellent key. It's really nice, high precision, a beautiful little key to take to the field, and I love using it. Then there's, N6ARA. He has his tiny paddles, and those are fantastic. I've always got one in my kit here with my KX2. It's always in there in case I need a spare key or something happens to my key. I did a whole activation with this key once. I just keep it in here. So I've always got a key in case something happens. I've got another one in another pack that goes with my one of my MTR3Bs. Super simple, super cheap, wonderful little key. What else do I have? I have the VK3IL pressure paddle that I built. With a friend sent me the board, and I ordered the parts for it, and it's a wonderful key. I love it. It actually performs really, really well. So there's nothing to complain about there either. It's amazing. My buddy Jonathan gave me a paddle that he printed that's a K6ARK design with Adam's permission. And it's much like the Pico paddles, and they work really, really well. And I'll be bringing them to the field soon. You'll see those. And I actually have a Pico paddle and a, is it called a micro? No, the mini paddle from Palm. And I purchased those from a reader and subscriber who wanted to sell them to me, and she gave me a wonderful price for both of those, so I took her up on it, and I've got those. I think I've only taken the Pico paddle to the field so far, but I will take the minis to the field as well. I told you this would probably be the most dead band, and by golly, it is. Yeah, there's just not much life in the 17-meter band right now. With CMEs and stuff, they tend to wipe out those higher bands. Like, that's where I find, you know, they're out. Now, you can get little periods of, like, where there's a little bit of recovery. Let's see if that was somebody calling me or just somebody on frequency. That's somebody else on frequency. Okay, you know what? We'll move. I'm tempted, really tempted to see if the 20-meter band's any better. No, let's go down to 40 meters. Let's go down to 40 meters and do that, and then I'll call it quits for the day. Let's see. Go into menu, tell it to go off, bypass. Now here, I need to really kind of wait for a bit and listen. You should always listen. Change this on my logs here. I'm really relying on the reverse beacon network to spot me right now, to do the spots on the POTA website, because frankly, I have no way to even check my spots. There's just not enough internet to do it. I'm hoping it's a little tiny bit early for 40 meters, but let's see, maybe I can get a few contacts here. I need to do something here on the side. I'm forwarding something. I need to do this. Okay, sorry, I'm having to do this. I'm pretty sure that that's WinLink right there doing that. Ooh, you came way up. I'd like to get one more. I want to get one more, and then I'll probably move on. Oh, this is so nice out here. The truth is, I just don't like sitting for a really long time, so I struggle to... Okay, there we go. Okay, let me take a few photos here and we'll pack up. Golly, that was fun. That was fun. I'm sorry, but it doesn't get any better than that for me. I just really, really love the excitement of working really low power. Now, let me take a picture of my logs here. I don't want to forget to do that. So we'll put the leaf right there. That looks really nice. There we go. 1 and 2. This may be my longest activation video to date, I think. Very pleased with this. This was just fantastic. Wow. I mean, look. So all of these were with 100 milliwatts. Like I said, felt pretty bad for a couple of these guys here who I've worked before. I hate that I didn't get them in the logs at 100 milliwatts. I would have liked to have done that. I really would have. But I got 11 contacts with 100 milliwatts within what? Less than 30 minutes. About 26 minutes. That's really not bad. That's really not too bad at all. Then at 1 watt, it was like I was running 10 watts or something. It just, whoops, where am I going here? Where am I going? It just kept going and going and going. You know, I'm just really, really pleased with how that turned out. For all of you who are OCD and don't like to see a blank space there. I mean, really, this was pretty insane. And, you know, the funny part is, this is the thing about QRP. When I first started doing activations, I pretty much ran 5 watts. But if my radio was set to 10 watts, I didn't pay any attention to it. I just left it there. It didn't really matter to me. I just didn't think about it, to be honest. Then in 2021, I thought, you know, I'm going to make an effort this year. My goal is to validate all my activations with 5 watts. And turned out that that was just not even a goal. It was so easy. It was just too easy. It just really was just too realistic of a goal. Way too easy to do. And that's when you start to realize, you know, 5 watts is quite a lot of power for CW, especially for things like SOTA and POTA. It's just really a plenty sufficient amount of power. And so it's really not a big deal to do an activation with those, especially running CW. And if you're running single sideband, 5 watts is fine. 10 watts is maybe, you know, a little more effective. I do think 10 watts is kind of a sweet spot for single sideband and QRP power. I wonder if I'm going to have to put this in something else. I really want to get a nicer thing to put this in, and I will do that. I just love this key. This thing was really impressive. Any keying errors I made was not because of this key. This is probably one of the smoothest keys I've used connected to my KX2 for sure. What else was I saying? Yeah, so you get used to just the thing working and you don't think about it anymore. You don't think about the fact you're only running 5 watts. This was one of those cases where I was very much aware I was running 100 milliwatts when I started this out. And a lot of that's because, yeah, we were being hit by CME. And you may say, gosh, well, you made some good contacts with the CME. Well, CMEs often just make things super unstable. They can wipe out the band completely sometimes. Sometimes they just make it really unstable. And several people were sending QSB, QRM. They were sending other things, you know, to me saying there's just interference and it wasn't all that wonderful. I noticed that some people were just fading out completely. I was fading out on them. And that wasn't too surprising in these conditions. If conditions were stable, if they could hear me, they could probably work me when I was doing this. So, but then when I moved up to 1 watt, I mean, I just sit here and did the activation like normal. I couldn't tell any difference. And that's just 1 watt of power. I could go probably for 10 hours running my KX2 on 1 watt. It's just so effortless for it. It's not hard at all. So, I mean, wow, it's just, that's the thing about QRP. Some people, you know, when I get those comments from people, at least once a month, I'll get a comment on my website or somebody else send me an email and it's like, oh, you shouldn't be promoting QRP. It's just ineffective. It's, you know, doing radio with your hands tied behind your back. I beg to differ. That's not what my history has proven here to me by just practicing, by doing, getting out and doing something. These are people that don't do it. They just make assumptions. And it's just not true. It's very effective. So now let's move the way my batteries. I'm doing stuff here real quick on the side. Make sure I don't miss anything. I'm also looking around for... Okay, let's go put up the antenna. We'll put up everything else here. So just connect the RG316. Antenna. There we go. And we'll put this up. What I'll do here is just I'm doing a really loose figure eight. Now, if you own one of these cables, it's probably better if you do the over-under method. I started doing the figure eight method with this. It puts a little bit more bend on this, but this is really sturdy cable. I just made up my mind that I don't worry about that. But I'm not suggesting you do it. You'll get a little more longevity out of your cable probably if you don't have the bend radius that I have on this. That's a real possibility. I need to find my Velcro strap for this. I'm just using a bread tie right now, and it's not ideal necessarily. Okay, now let's put up the antenna, and what I have to do is come over here and undo this knot, which is super easy. It's just bare. It doesn't even really hard to need to hold it in place, but and then there's my weight down here. So when people tell me that QRP doesn't work, it's not what doing it proves, because that's part of the issue, isn't it? A lot of people, you know, they don't actually try. They're making assumptions without trying. And like today is an example of I just wanted to give it a go. I just wanted to try it and see how it worked, and I just didn't worry if it didn't work, and that's fine with me. I just wanted to give it a go and experiment. Now I can say that, yeah, I've used 100 milliwatts QRPP power in really non-ideal conditions, right? And was I able to do the activation? Absolutely. Did it within 30 minutes. That's about, like I said, as good as you can get when you're doing activations. Sorry, it's snagging a little bit, but it's coming down now. And they couldn't really ask for better, frankly. So just try it. Don't just go out and do it. Just do. Less theory, more practice. That's what I like to say. Let's get out and do it. There we go. There's a nice, neat little end-fed half wave, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to set up the shot here. I like to have leaves in my shots. If it's fall, it reminds me of when I was using the antenna. There we go. So we'll take a shot there. You'll see that in my post probably. And you saw how the sausage was made. Here we go. Let's grab this. I'm also looking around for trash. There just really isn't any here that I see. Super clean. This park is really nice. Lake Norman is very well kept and very friendly park rangers and staff here that are very familiar with Parks on the Air. They all know about Parks on the Air. Most of the rangers know me. So yeah, what I was saying earlier, and I don't know if I finished it off, but I'm not used to having an electric vehicle. And one of the cool things is a lot of the North Carolina parks have these free convenience chargers. And when I come out here, I know my buddy Max probably knows this because he has, I think, a Chevy Volt or something. But I didn't really have enough charge initially in my car. I wasn't planning to come out this way, so I didn't have enough in my car after all the running around I did today and part of yesterday to come all the way out here an extra hour and, like, what did I say, hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half. That's one of the reasons this was getting caught in the tree. This little tiny knot just appeared. So I needed more charge before I could head back home, or I'd have to go to like a charging station or something. Well, with the convenience charger, while I'm out here doing my park, it basically adds enough miles, distance to my car, enough range that I could do this activation, and it kind of pays for my trip here, actually. Now, I feel a little guilty about just using free chargers, so what I tend to do, I haven't done it yet today, but last time I dropped a really nice donation in the bucket here at the park office. I may yet do that today. If I don't do it today, I'll do it next time I come down here. Just because I like doing that anyway. I really like park staff seeing. That's one time I like to be a conspicuous donor. Normally I don't care about that at all. But since I'm representing amateur radio, I'm representing Parks on the Air activators, and I've spoken to park staff who've told me when they've noticed that some activators buy things in the shop or leave a donation or something, that they remember that. And I feel like I'm doing something and kind of playing it forward for other amateur radio operators when I do that. So that's the reason I like to do it, because I like to give back to the park staff, so they think the best of amateur radio operators. Anyway, I've got to put up my camera now and head out. This has been I did find some trash. This has been a very long activation, and I appreciate you spending it with me. Hopefully YouTube will let me post a video this long. I think I've done it before. But this is wonderful. I wish I could just tell you how nice the air feels today. It's just no humidity. It's probably 74 degrees Fahrenheit. And I am so looking forward to an upcoming camping trip I've got, the W4 Soda camping trip, which is actually a month from now yet. It's a whole month from now, but I'm hoping that the weather's even cooler than this. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm planning to do some extra camping this winter, probably here at Lake Norman too. I'd like to do some camping just on random days that I'm down this way and camp overnight. So that's also in the works. I'd like to do that. We'll see how that works out. I've got a roof tent. Well, I've got part of a roof tent now. I've got the tent part, and hopefully the roof platform will be available at the end of this month. And I want to start using that just to make my tent setups and everything else so much easier. And I've always wanted one, mainly because they have a really nice mattress in them, so they're soft and they're easy to sleep in, and you're kind of up off the ground from like raccoons and stuff bugging you, which happens a lot in parks when in the off seasons, when you have less tents there, then these animals like to come over and bug you in the night. And they don't do anything, but they just keep you awake with scurrying around the tent and trying to get in and all that, and I don't like that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And Lake Norman has a really nice camping area, plus really, really great trails. I've been on almost all of them now. It's just a wonderful park. So I look forward to doing some late evening Parks on the Air sessions here. Anyway, I have babbled too much. Take care. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much to Patreon supporters and my Coffee Fund supporters. You really are amazing. You make this possible for me to do this as much as I do it, and pay for all the incidentals of going out and doing these extra things and filming and taking the time out of my day to put together activations, field reports, and all that stuff. Just thank you, thank you, thank you. This is doing something I love. It is a labor of love, and I'm going to continue doing it. Thank you for all your kind and constructive comments. I have almost like no trolling at all on my YouTube channel or my website, and I just love that. I think this is a wonderful community. I think the Field QRP, POTA, SOTA community is just a fantastic community. All of those are in the amateur radio world and really represent the best of what amateur radio is today. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Go out and be kind to one another. And until next time, 7 3s.